Let's look at natural resources here. Let's look at what they have, their soils. Look at their soil there. Do you think they are in good shape? Do you think those lands are productive now? Do you see some photosynthesis happening? Do you see some shortcomings? And being degraded, the soils can't provide the services. They can't grow the grass. This grass is used by the cattle for milk, for meat. When the soils are degraded, they can't produce grains as well. They can't produce water in quantity of good quality. They are not anymore the support of biodiversity. In the soil, you have 80% of the living biomass, and that is making those people suffer every day more. So there is a huge challenge for South Africa, but for the whole world, to understand better the causes of those degradations of the land. More than 50% of the world's soils are degraded. Not only grassland, it's cropland. It is in Europe. Only 1 millimeter of soil lost per year in 100 years. You lose 10 centimeters. You lose your whole fertile soil. And we have rates much higher than that. We have sterilization of soils because of fertilizers, because of heavy machinery. We have compaction of soils. We have a productivity worldwide that is decreasing while the population is going up. So we said before, overgrazing. Overgrazing the cause of degradation. How many cows do you see here from your spot? We see gullies. So gullies, the idea is that it's due to concentrated flow. It is a mainstream accepted idea as well. Fire, forest fires or grass fire are a cause of land degradation and a direct cause of climate change because we emit some CO2. So it's a mainstream accepted idea. We took off the cattle from the land to avoid overgrazing. We build gabions perpendicular and within gullies to stop the overland flow. We stopped fires in some areas. Nothing changed. The situation got worse. So we come back to the diagnostic.
Is it splash erosion or is it overland flow that is causing most of the erosion? And then at the different positions, we want to see, is it because of the slope length, the steepness, and the inherent soil characteristics, because we have different parent material. We have sandstone and then we have dolerite. This land is used for grazing of animals. So we didn't do any intervention, we just wanted to do the diagnostics. And then at the mouth, at the bottom there, we have a weir. It's a 23-hectare catchment to try and move out in scale, spatial scale, to be able to see where are the losses occurring. And then on this side, at the top, it was heavily degraded with bare soil. And then as we came down, there was more grass cover. So what we did was to separate the different portions and try some rehabilitation techniques. First, we measured the carbon in the soil with the different degradation gradients. And then we put some interventions. Here we put high density grazing for a short time, 1,200 animals per hectare for 3 days. And then we have a fertilizer treatment. We have a treatment where we just tilled to see if that will improve the growth of the grasses. And then we have somewhere where we just bent the grass to be able to see if bending is going to be able to rehabilitate the grass.
The machine, it gives the carbon dioxide emissions per gram CO2, and it will take less than 3 minutes by each reading. First, to start, take the soil gember, looking for bare soil between the grass. This is for the soil temperature. So it gives the soil temperature at the same times.
I measured the amount of water runoff produced by the storm, and then also measured the amount of sediments. And in the water, I also collect some water sample and the sediment sample, and then analyze for the amount of organic carbon, amount of nitrogen, and amount of phosphorus. Down there at the flume, we have some equipment that measure the flow rate, right? And also equipment for taking some water samples when the water is flowing. When the water level is rising, right, there's communication between the water level sensor and the sampler, which tells it to take a sample when there's a lot of flow going through. We find that there is a little bit more carbon losses from the smaller one in comparison to the bigger one. When we express the losses per unit area basis, which means whatever is coming out here, eventually we express that as per unit area from that area, from that plot, okay? And when we look at the average of what is happening at all the 5 sides, we have more happening there compared to there. Then we go down there, we have a sharp decline, a sharp decrease, right? In the fluxes of organic carbon, both the dissolved and the particulate, there compared to this.
Then we realized that the structure was collapsing. What was allowing water to infiltrate, after collapsing, we have a layer, a crust that forms, that becomes impermeable, and then the water runs off. It's what you have seen. And you have seen a lot of spots that came until here. So some splash, some particles are detached by each drop and are removed from their initial place. And we have seen that this process of splash plus the running on of water are 2 major processes of land degradation. Of the spots, you can see the white spots without soil. So those 2 processes remove soil particles, but it removes carbon, and there is a preferential removing of organic matter. When we did the same experiment on soils that are well covered, the splash effect was not working. There was no removal of soil particles, and there was even no runoff. The water was fully infiltrating thanks to the roots, thanks to the tops, into the soil.